Hey Busters, welcome back to another Digimon card game video, specifically a deck overview video. So today, I wanted to go over the build, pros and cons, and playstyles of one of the easiest and cheapest decks to play that can top tournaments, the new Blue-Green Aggro deck. As there are, as always, variants and tweaks due to personal playstyles and bias, do note that this deck list isn't the definitive win-all deck. In fact, this build is my personal build that I won the Tamer Battle tournament with last weekend. It wasn't a max size tournament that requires 5 straight wins to win, but the second largest size, where I needed 4 straight wins in order to win the tournament. So, to start things off, here's my personal build. I'll go over the key cards in a bit, but I just wanted to point out the differences you may see with other Blue-Green Aggro deck recipes you see online. To start things off, I run Yukidarumon or Frigimon, as well as opting to remove Positron Laser and evolutions for green Digimon. Moving on to the pros, 1. This new aggro deck is infinitely better than the preset 3 version, often winning before the opponent can set anything up. 2. Your normal plays forces minimum memory resources for the opponent, while you yourself are not restricted, as you only run 2 to 3 cost cards. 3. It is incredibly hard to beat if the opponent cannot draw into their blockers, which even then, we have an answer to with our green option cards. 4. Despite playing level 3s non-stop, you actually have a rather strong draw engine, coming from your Digitama's EOE, rather plentiful evolution draws, and the occasional Gabumon play effects. And even if the opponent draws a high memory Digimon, like Volcanicdramon, the threat is offset by the huge memory you gain, which you will use to field 3+ Digimon with replenishing your field. And finally, 5 is actually extremely cheap to make, with the most expensive card, Flow Cannon, a 300 yen card, now replaced with ChikuChiku BangBang, which you can get 4 of in the new starter deck. For the cons, this deck runs into the problem of not being able to answer opponent threats, only delaying them, especially ones with security attack +1, as that will allow them to actually outspeed you if you're unlucky with their security checks. This deck also struggles against half the colors in the meta if they are able to set up quickly enough. Black with their infinite amount of blockers, purple with their abnormal amount of blockers and Lady Devimon effect, and green once they set Crestmon up. It's pretty much over for you. And finally, their security Digimon for this aggro deck are absolutely useless, and the opponent will not hesitate to start attacking with level 4s once they know what you're running. So, this deck is designed for early to mid-game wins. If you went first, evolve your Digitama into a level 3, prioritizing Veemon for its jamming first, and then other 3 play cost Digimon second, and then play 2 cost level 3 onto the field, prioritizing the lowest cost blue Digimon available first. Reason being that if you play green Digimon, you won't be able to play your ChikuChikus when it loses to a security check, as well as alerting the opponent you're running aggro, making them field blockers faster due to you running 2 colors instead of a mono blue. If you went second, however, assuming they managed to give you only 1 memory to start with, you would do the same thing, prioritizing Veemon and 3 play cost blue Digimon for evolution, but as you start with 1 memory instead of 0, you'll actually be able to field 2 level 3s, giving you 3 Digimon to attack on your next turn. The remainder of the game proceeds kind of the same way, with you fielding as much as possible while giving your opponent only 1 memory to work with every turn, with the occasional 2 memory, while you decimate their security with a weenie rush. The best part is, your Veemons will never lose to security Digimon, ensuring you outspeed the opponent. This forces them to waste their limited 1 to 2 memory resource in killing off any of your Digimon that survive security checks. This is where your XVeemon comes in. Evolving into it makes your Veemon active, saving it from being targeted, or, if you had enough memory, allows your Veemon to swing in for another hit. It honestly depends on the field situation, but more often than not, if you had the memory to allow you to evolve into XVeemon without ending your turn, swinging again for another security check is usually worth it. If they did play a blocker, however, you now either have to just pile the field with more level 3s to outnumber their blockers, often sacrificing 1 to get as many hits as you can afterwards, or evolve into Gorimon and swing with that. Its 6000 DP forces the opponent to let it through, as losing their blocker means the remaining level 3s you have on the field will all get through. Another option is to use ChikuChiku if you have a green Digimon on the field. This deck is very straightforward and you should win by turn 5 to 6. If they manage to get blockers out, it'll take a few more turns, but unless they can play a 4-cost Tamer, you'll always outspeed them in the end, given you're restricting how much they can do per turn. Just to note, if the opponent forgoes the usual build-up of evolutions and just drops a straight level 5 first turn, they'll actually have a hard time catching up, especially if they're running red, which will outspeed your Kamikaze level 3s with their security attack +1 Digimons, since your security is abysmal at best. And that initial drop means that they can effectively kill off your resting Digimon without needing to waste their turns evolving into something strong enough to do it. While you may be able to swarm the field with free memory they threw your way, if you chose the wrong order to attack in, you may end up losing all your Digimon during security checks, while the opponent can reap level 6 Digimon benefits before you can re-swarm the field. For the cards themselves, the deck runs level 3s, prioritizing high DP Digimon with low play costs. Evo costs are ignored as you can evolve the free ones and play the ones that have an Evo cost onto the field for their play cost normally. For Digitama, you would run Upamon for its draw engine power. But due to how Veemon is so vital to this deck, Booster Set 3 Chibimon is also run for the same draw engine reasons. Just to note, I personally run more Chibimons over Upamons due to running Yukidarumons, or Frigimon in the West, which I'll go over a bit later. So, first up is the key level 3 card, Veemon, from Set 3. It being a level 3 with jamming is incredibly powerful. Not only that, you'll also be drawing a free card every time you attack with it from Chibimon's EOE, letting you draw into the needed XVeemons or just replenishing your hand power in general. XVeemon is the other key card that made the previous C rank aggro deck into an S tier deck. Evolving into this nets you a free card from evolving, as well as protecting your vital Digimon or getting another hit in for free. Plus, this evolution effect actually works on itself, so after you attack, evolve into XVeemon to guarantee one more extra hit next turn. Gabumon is a highly prized Digimon for its draw 1 on play effect. The 3 cost is worth being able to draw into your Veemons, XVeemons, and resting option cards, which is why you would play it for its 3 cost instead of a 2 cost. However, it isn't as vital as Veemon and XVeemon, and can be replaced with other level 3s that cost 2 to play if you don't have any in your collection. Pinokkimon is your ace Digimon to help you out of a tough bind. Specifically, it's used to stall the opponent's Omegamons and other security attack +1 Digimons, or security attack +2 or more. Playing it ensures you have an extra attacker on your next turn, as well as the extra memory you gain when you attack with it. A decent substitute, if you don't have any, is Cocyutus Breath from the blue starter set. It costs 3 less to play and stalls for slightly longer as it bounces the Digimon, and is amazing to have in your security. However, the trade-off is that you don't get the DP Beatstick attacker of Pinokkimon next turn. While Mega Blaster from the green starter deck is another optional choice, it being green and targeting only resting Digimon makes the extra 2 play cost of Cocyutus Breath worth removing the restrictions that Mega Blaster has. For Tamers, Daisuke is used to help you search out key cards, as well as giving you a whopping 3 memory per turn. Because Daisuke allows you to reveal the top 3 and add any 1 blue and 1 green, you're effectively adding 2 cards to your hand. Plus, you're able to add that tech card Pinokkimon to your hand, letting your opponent know that what's to come and might actually prevent them from going all out. From Daisuke's effect, you should prioritize adding Veemon, XVeemon, and Pinokkimons. However, you can actually choose a different level 3 green Digimon over Pinokkimon if you actually have a ChikuChiku BangBang card in your hand and plan to use it soon, or if you lack a green Digimon. Finally, ChikuChiku BangBang, or Needle Spray in the West when it gets released. This is an incredibly strong card and is actually even better than Flow Cannon with regards to this deck, in my opinion. While Flow Cannon is great, ChikuChiku being able to arrest the opponent's blocker and adding itself to your hand is just plain silly, and is why I run this over Flower Cannon. Of course, if you feel that the defensive attributes of arresting all the opponent's non-blockers in the when it's checked for security is much more valuable, swapping this out for ChikuChiku BangBang is just as viable, or you can actually run both. And of course, Hammer Spar. This clutch card is run 4 copies, no doubt. It lets you outspeed your opponent by gaining more resources, as well as letting you evolve into XVeemon or field an extra Digimon without ending your turn if you started with only 1 memory. And next, we're going to go over my personal build card choices. So, personally, I run Yukidarumon because of its jamming ability. This synergizes well with Chibimon when you can't draw into Veemons, and its having jamming allows it to stay as a lingering threat. While some might argue that the 2 evil cost is better spent on fielding another Digimon, I find that this extra level 4 allows for a more consistent draw engine from the evolution. This card would replace either a level 3 blue Digimon or a security Digimon such as Airdramon, depending on what kind of aggro deck recipe you're looking on. I actually removed Positron Laser because no matter how I think about it, it's a weird choice. It's used in lots of tourney winning aggro decks, but I personally just can't see the justification. Its main effect is wasted as the only real threats are blockers, and with a play cost of 6, it just means that using this card instantly ends your turn, meaning you can't reap the benefits of attacking because they can't block. While it can stall 2 opponent Digimon for 1 turn, I personally feel that just playing Pinokkimon is a much better option. If you're running it for its bounce effect, you still need a green Digimon on the field to meet the requirements, and your desired Digimon that you want to bounce has to be in rested position. As such, it's only really useful if it manages to be activated through the security, its security effect, which I find is a fundamentally flawed reason for running Positron Laser in my opinion. So there you have it. This is the new tournament topping aggro deck that is actually winning more tournaments overall than Omega Red. Of course, this is probably due to the reason that it's so cheap to make. It's extremely effective and surprisingly consistent with an almost green deck tier level of draw power. So that's it, Busters. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful. Just to note, I am doing this for Japanese tournaments and for any English players out there. Currently, I think, what is it called, the booster set 1.5 cards, you don't actually have the required cards to actually make this deck, so you'll actually have to wait until the latter half. Maybe it's called 2.5, I'm not sure, sorry guys, but until the other half where you catch up to set 3. Once you have that, you'll be able to make this deck. So once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this useful. If you have any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Anyways, this is Buster-kun here, being stuck nowhere.